Hello, students. Welcome back to another edition of Geometry. Today we're going to be going over our test corrections. So join me. If you did not do most of these on another piece of paper, chances are I will not be able to see all your work. So make sure you're using another piece of paper. I'm going to use another piece of paper for each one of these, or at least for most of them. So write the polynomial in standard form. Identify the degree, the leading coefficient of the polynomial. So I need to do three things. Standard form. So I use whichever one has the largest exponent first. I can combine those terms. So negative 7 and a positive 3 is negative 4x plus 5. So what I have here, my degree is 2, my leading coefficient is 5, and it is a trinomial. My guess is some folks might say it was a polynomial because there were 4, but we have like terms, so it is actually a trinomial. All right, number 2, negative 5b to the third. So that's a monomial. Let's just go with our degree is 3. Our leading coefficient is negative 5, and it is a monomial. All right, check out number 3. So number 3, we're going to rewrite in standard form. There's our largest. So we have negative z to the 7th plus 20z to the 4th plus 2/3 z. So there it is in standard form. So my degree is 7. Now my leading coefficient, if there is no number here, that means there's a 1. Try not to forget that. There's a 1 there, so my leading coefficient is negative 1, and this is a trinomial. All right. Let's check out number 4. Number 4, we have 4/5 a to the 5th minus 3/7 a squared. So our degree is 5. Our leading coefficient is 4/5, and this is a binomial. Bi means 2. It's a binomial. All right. These ones, there's definitely not enough room on the paper, so I hope that you wrote them somewhere else. Number 5. Find the sum or difference. So we have negative 5. Wow, they start us off with a couple tricks here. So here's the trick. The trick is that this has to be distributed before we do anything else. So negative 20b to the third plus 25b, negative 5 times negative 5 is positive. And then we have this minus 3b to the fourth minus b to the third. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the opposite. Add the opposite. And now what you need to do is find your like terms. So here's b to the third and b to the third, and then b to the fourth and b. So those aren't like terms. So let's combine these. Negative 20 b to the third plus b to the third. 1, so this is a 1, right? So we have a negative 19b to the third plus 25b, because there's no like term with that, minus 3b to the fourth. Now, I have to actually write this answer in standard form. And there's my answer. All right, I'm going to pause the video for a second, make sure you get all the correct answers, and I will be back as soon as photography is over. All right, students, where were we? We were on number 6. So, negative 3x plus 4x squared plus negative 12x to the third plus 7x. Okay. So let's check out our like terms. If you don't have highlighters with you, that's fine. You can just use underlines. We have 3x and we have a 7x of that. And that are like terms, and those are not like anything else. So negative 3, positive 7, that would give me a positive 4x. This has no like terms, so we just bring it right on down. This has no like terms, so we bring it right on down. And now we write it in standard form. Our largest exponent first, followed by next largest, followed by our last largest. There's number 6. All right, let's look at number 7. Number 7. We have 2 minus 3x plus 14x minus 7x squared minus 5. So let's look for our like terms. We've got a 2 and a negative 5. We've got a negative 3x, positive 14x. So we can kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We can start to write it in standard format while we're solving it. So I see my largest exponent is here is this negative 7x squared, which has no other like terms. And then I'll deal with my x's. A negative 3 and a positive 14. That'll give me a positive 11. And a negative 3. So there it is. Negative 7x squared plus 11x minus 3. All right. Okay, here we go. This is great. Now we have a subtraction 1, another subtraction 1. So we are going to have to add the opposite in just a second. First, I'm going to write the whole thing down. There is the whole problem. And just to simplify things, I'm going to take everything else away. So I have to add the opposite. I'm going to go ahead and write this again. And then I have to add the opposite. So this negative 2y becomes a positive 2y. This positive becomes a negative, and this positive becomes a negative. And now that I'm adding them, now I can look for my like terms. 5. And I'm not going to try and multitask this one. I'm going to just do it as I go. So there's no other 5, so I'll do the 5 right here. Negative 6y, that's common with the negative 5y. So negative 6, negative 5 is negative 11y. And then I have this y squared and this y squared. So negative 4, positive 2, lands with negative 2y squared. And then I have this left, negative 12y to the third. Now, why didn't I multitask and do standard form at the same time? Simply because there are so many numbers going on. Because now it's super easy to go to standard form from largest exponent down to smallest or no exponent. There is my answer. All right. Now let's move on to number 9. Find the product. So we have 5 minus a times a squared minus 3a minus 10. So what I'm going to do, multiplication, I'm going to simply just go straight to boxcar trolls. I have 3 that I'm going to put on the top. A squared minus 3a minus 10. And I have 2 that are going to go here, 5 and negative a. And now, so that I can see everything, I'm going to go ahead and just use a blue pen. A squared times 5, that's 5a squared. Negative 3a times 5 is negative 15a. Keep my a's the same. Negative 10 times 5 is negative 50. A squared times negative a is negative a to the third. Negative 3 times negative 3a times negative a is 3a squared. Negative 10 times negative a is 10a. So now I write all these numbers in my box. 5, a squared minus 15a minus 50 minus a to the third plus 3a squared plus 10a. And now I go through and I find my like terms, and I'll write it in standard form. I have negative a to the third, and then I have 5a squared and 3a squared, so I have 8a squared. I have a negative 15a and a positive 10a, negative 5a minus 50. And there's my answer for number 9. All right, let's look at number 10. Interesting that they give you a binomial times a trinomial for the first one. Like, I would think they would kind of let you warm up a little bit to understand it, but whatevs, right? You know what all the kids say? Whatevs. So I've got my 1 and my negative 5. I've got my 2c and my 6. So this is 2c. 6 times 1 is 6. Negative 10c squared. Negative 30c. So 2c plus 6 minus 10c squared minus 30c. Let's see, I've got my like terms right there. So I've got negative 10c squared, negative 28c, right? Negative 30 plus 2 is negative 28 plus 6. Number 10. All right, number 11. 2x times 3x plus 1. That's x squared plus 4x. So before I do anything, I'm actually going to have to distribute this 2x through here. So I get 6x squared plus 2x times x squared plus 4x. Now, I'm going to make my boxcar trolls. I have 6x squared plus 2x. I have x squared plus 4x. Now, I said it before, but if you do the boxcar troll method, you are less likely to make a mistake. X squared and x squared is x to the fourth. 4, 24x to the third, 2x to the third, 8x squared. 6x to the fourth plus 24x to the third plus 2x to the third plus 8x squared. Got two like terms there. So 24 and 2 is 26x to the third plus 8x squared. And that's a 4. Just like that. All right, let's look at this one. 12 is 5 times p minus 3 squared. Whoa, so what do we do first? Remember PEMDAS? Parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, addition, subtraction. So we're not going to multiply until we deal with our exponents. We can't do anything with parentheses. That's already done. That's as simplified as we can get. So we move on to exponents. So we deal with this. So 5 times p minus 3 times p minus 3. Now all we have is multiplication. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and distribute this through one of them. So 5p minus, I shouldn't have drawn that so close. So if I distribute that, so I have 5p minus 15 times p minus 3. So, because that 5 got distributed, right? 5 times p is 5p, 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. 5p, negative 15p, negative 3. 5p squared, negative 15p, negative 15p, and 45. Okay, so we have 5p squared minus 15p minus 15p plus 45. 5p squared minus 30p plus 45. There it is, number 12. All right, nice thing is you don't have to do number 13. So go right down here to number 14. Factor the polynomial completely. Okay, 10n m to the third minus 15 n squared m. So they both have one n at least. They both have at least one m, and they both have fives. So 5n m. Now, if it helps, go ahead and do divided by 5mn divided by 5mn. Okay, that will hopefully help. And what we get here is 2. The n's cancel. M squared minus 3. The m's canceled. N. That's as simplified as we can get. It's as factored as we can get right there. Okay. Number 15. 4x squared plus 2xy minus 2y squared. Ooh, wheel, the first thing I notice is they all have 2. So I can pull a 2 out and I get 2x squared plus 2, plus xy, because this is divided by 2, this is divided by 2, plus xy minus y squared. Okay. So now I have this, and I have 2x and x. And then what are my factors of negative 1? Well, my factors are 1 and negative 1. So I have to put my positive 1 over here because 1 times 2. And then what I'm going to do, and what you have to do on yours, I'm going to use red because it stands out, negative 1x, 2x. So that gives me, this has to have a y, I'm sorry. Negative 1xy, xy, so this gives me a positive xy. Yes, it's a positive xy. So that is my answer, number 15. Nailed it. Let's move on to number 16. 3p to the third plus 9p squared minus 210p. Oh boy. Well, I see that they all have a p and they all have a 3. So I'm going to factor out 3p. So if you want to think about that, divide by 3p, divide by 3p, divide by 3p. So now I have p squared plus 3p minus 70. So I have to come up with factors of negative 70 that give me a positive 3. Great. So 170, 235, 3, 4, 5. 14, 5, 6, 7. Oh, there it is. 7 and 10. So I have a negative 7 and a positive 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. So that's fully factored. All right, number 17. We have negative 5x squared plus 15x plus 140. Now, I'm glad they gave us most of these where we can pull out the leading coefficient. So if each of these is divided by 5, I got x squared plus 3x plus 140 divided by 5 is 28. All right. So now I need factors of 28. It get me to 3. 1, 28, 2, 14. Oh, oops. I pulled out a negative 5. So that turns this, oh gosh, into a negative. And that turns this into a negative. Because this divided by negative 5, divided by negative 5, divided by negative 5. 2, 4, and 7. There it is. So a negative 7 and a positive 4 gives me a negative 3. X, right? And then negative 7, positive 4. Negative 7, 4, negative 3. Negative 7 times 4 is negative 28. There is 17. All right, 18. 5x to the third minus 125x. You may wonder why I'm doing this all the way around sheets. What I'm trying to do is use the paper, but also leave clean space so you don't get lost with all the clutter. So I'm going to pull out a 5x for this. I'm left with x squared minus 25. Nice, that was easy. Oh, wait a second. I have a perfect square minus a perfect square. Remember that? That means that I have my perfect square plus my square, my perfect square minus my square. Hey, yo. Don't forget that if you have two perfect squares that are subtracted, don't forget that last step. All right, now we have this polynomial. Whoa, excuse me. 6ab plus 12a squared minus 7xb minus 14xa. So what I'm going to do is divide these into groups. like that. I'm going to factor out of this one. I'm going to factor out a 6a, which leaves me with b plus 2a. And then I'm going to factor out of this a negative 7, which leaves me with, let's do a negative 7x, which leaves me with b plus 2a. Perfect. I have a b plus 2a and a b plus 2a. So I have, factor out b plus 2a, and I'm left with 6a minus 7x. How about that? All right. Let's flip the test over. I hope that you guys saw what this means. The solution for this, which is 3 possible solutions, is that, and that. So I can already tell you just by looking at this graph that one of my answers is 0. One of them is between 0 and 1, a fraction between 0 and 1, and one of them is 5. So I know 2 of my 3 answers just by looking at this graph, 0 and 5. But I'd have to do the rest to answer the rest. So negative 3x to the third plus 17x squared minus 10x equals 0. So we factor this. Oh boy, how do I get a negative 3x squared? I get negative 3x times x. I have to get myself up to 17. So I'm going to go negative 5 and negative 2. No. But I gotta get a negative 10, so that's gotta be a positive. Okay. So does that work for me? Let's see. I've got 2x, and I've got 15x. Oh, sure enough, that gives me a positive x. So there it is. So, wait a second. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have filtered out an x first. Right, because that leaves me with, pull out an x, I would get negative 3x squared plus 17x minus 10 equals 0. So I need to pull out an x first. So now that I know after my double smiley face that is in fact the factor of this, I have x equals 0. I have negative 3x plus 2 equals 0. And I have x minus 5 equals 0. Oh, there's one of my answers. Remember we said x is 0. Minus 2. Negative 3x equals negative 2. X equals 2/3. So that's where that line is, 2/3 right there. And then x equals 5. See that? Right there. Boom. Nailed it. Now let's check out number 21. Do I want to try and answer without doing any work? It's going to be y equals negative 3, y equals negative 1, 1, and 3. There's all my answers. But we have to show the work, so might as well show the work. So how do I factor that? Well, I know I'm going to have x squared. I know I'm going to have x squared. And then I'm going to have minus 9 and minus 1. Oh, look at that. Look at that. This is a perfect square minus a perfect square. Oh, x plus 1, x minus 1. Look at that. Wait a second. Another perfect square minus a perfect square. This is x plus 3, x minus 3. Oh, yes. So, don't forget we're trying to find the zeros. X plus 1 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0, x plus 3 equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0. Wait just 1 second. Positive negative 1, positive negative 1, negative positive 3, negative positive 3. I did it. That's how you do it with the work. That's how you do it just by looking at the graph. All right, now we've got 4 more. We have to solve the equation. So 2p squared plus 24 equals negative 16p. Now, straight away, I notice that I have numbers on both sides of my equation. So let's bring this over to this side. So I have 2p squared plus 16p plus 24 equals 0. So I'm going to have to, oh wait, let's not do that yet. Look, they're all multiples of 2. Let's get rid of that 2 first. That'll make our life a lot easier. P squared plus 8p plus 12. Oh, that's so much easier. Seriously. Seriously, folks. That is so much easier than trying to solve the other one. So I get my factors of 12. 1, 12, 2, 6, 3, 4. I get p squared. I put a p and a p. How are my factors of 12? Add up to 8. My 2 and my 6 add up to 8. And since I'm solving it, I have to make it equal to 0. Minus 2, p equals negative 2, minus 6, p equals negative 6. Booyah. All right, let's check out 23. Shall we? 9m squared minus 1 equals 0. What do I notice? Perfect square. Perfect square minus a perfect square. So, perfect square, perfect square. Minus 1 means I'm plus 1, minus 1. Now I'm getting them to equal to 0, so I have 3m plus 1 equals 0. 3m minus 1 equals 0. M equals negative 1/3. Plus 1 on both sides. M equals positive 1/3. All right. Looks like we have 2 more to go. 24 negative 3x squared plus x to the third equals 4x. Hopefully you notice straight away we have numbers on both sides of our equation, so let's fix that. So I have negative 3x squared plus x to the third minus 4x equals 0. So let's write this in standard form so I can start to factor it. They all have an x. X squared minus 3x minus 4. So let's take our factors of -4. And I know that I have x, and then I have a -4 and a +1. That would give me a -3. -4 plus 1 is -3. So now I actually have three equations, right? I have x equals 0. I have x minus 4 equals 0. And I have x plus 1 equals 0. X equals 1, x equals 4, and x equals 0. Okay, let's do this last one. 25x to the 4th minus 5x squared plus 4 equals 0. Well, nothing to factor out. So I have x squared, and what factors of 4 get me to 5? 1 plus 4. Or, I'm sorry, positive and a negative, so I have -1, -4. -1 times -4 is +4. -4 minus 1 is -5. Wait a second. Do you guys see that? Perfect square minus a perfect square. X plus 1, x minus 1. Oh, but it's not over. Perfect square minus a perfect square. Oh, this keeps going. We have x plus 2, x minus 2. Oh, this is lovely. I have 4 potential answers. Oh, and that lines up because I have 4 potential answers. X plus 1 equals 0. X minus 1 equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0. Minus 1. X equals -1. Plus 1. X equals 1. Minus 2. X equals -2. And plus 2. X equals 2. And there it is. All of the corrections for your test.